Okay, so it's very important when we understand Scripture. And as I said before, we live by every word that proceeds forth from the mouth of the Father. Matthew 4:4. Also, he's quoting from Deuteronomy. Every word. However, we have the principles that we learn in the Old Testament because the old law has been done away with, according to Scripture. Matthew 8:13 says it is obsolete. So at what point do we obey the new covenant? When was that made the ruling covenant? Well, in Mark chapter 15 and verse 38, verse 37 says, Jesus cried out with a loud voice and breathed his last. Then the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Now, that happened, and it made the book because it means something. It means that the old covenant, that separation that was between man and God, through Jesus Christ, there is no more separation. That old law, where there was a veil between you and the Holy of Holies, that's gone. When did the old covenant die? With the death of Jesus at that time on the cross. So we have to be very careful when we read the Gospels for law, because things that were said before the cross may or may not be new covenant law. But we know for sure when the old covenant ended and the new covenant began. For instance, Hebrews chapter 9, starting in verse 16. Where there is a testament, there is also of necessity, there must be the death of the testator. For a testament is in force after men are dead, since it has no power at all while the testator lives. You see, our new covenant law, and by the way, make no mistake, there's old covenant law and there is new covenant law. There's no such thing as a commandment or keep my commandments without law. And Jesus wants us to know that if we want to know what's law for us today, it's in the new covenant. Things that are right after the resurrection of Christ. We can know that there's a new covenant and an old covenant. So we can't figure out what we're going to do from the old covenant, how we're going to worship, how we're going to give money to God or anything of that nature. We're not going to take our laws from the old covenant. We're going to get them from the new covenant, and the new covenant only. We're not going to add to that. We don't want God to rebuke us. So our new covenant law started with the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ.